Pearson Sharp. Europe is dead, and the socialists killed it. That's not an exaggeration. Democracy is over, and the EU's open border fascists couldn't be happier. Marine Le Pen, the right-wing populist champion who promised to save France from the hordes of murderous, parasitic, low-life criminals pouring over their borders like a scene from World War Z, has been politically assassinated by France's ruling elite. It's basically the same treatment that President Trump got, but by a miracle and divine intervention, he survived. These commie Marxists hate leaders who stand up for their people and protect their countries from migration invasion. Marine Le Pen has been phenomenally popular with the people of France, so much so that the globalists in charge have been trying to get rid of her for years. This time, France's president, Emmanuel Macron, conspired with some hand-picked judges to not only get Le Pen thrown in prison, but also block her from running for president in the next 2027 election. She was sentenced to a 5-year ban on running for public office, on top of a 4-year prison sentence and a 100,000 euro fine. And what was her dastardly crime? What despicable evil did she commit to bring down the hammer of Lady Injustice upon her? Well, she was accused of misusing EU funds because some of her staff split time between her office and her party. That's it. In case you were waiting for more, that's it. There is nothing else. That's the crime. A violation of bureaucratic technicality that wouldn't even register as a misdemeanor in most countries, which is simply astonishing when you consider that Christine Lagarde, the globalist sweetheart in charge of the IMF and who's responsible for wrecking countries all over Europe and the Middle East, was convicted for approving a £403 million fraudulent bribe payout to help out a friend of the French president at the taxpayer's expense and through private channels to keep the deal covered up. The French court found her guilty and did nothing. No fine, no prison sentence. She even kept her job as the IMF chief and then got promoted to be the president of the European Central Bank. The difference here is that Le Pen is standing up for France. She's defying the globalists trying to destroy her country, and that pisses off all the great reset billionaires in Brussels. So a decade later, when Le Pen is absolutely crushing it in the polls, with a massive surge in support from the French people, they drag up this technicality, which is not a crime. Under French law, this is not considered a criminal offense. Keep that in mind. As a result, she was denied a trial by jury and was instead sentenced by 3 judges who were appointed by the leftist president Macron. Now, even if she appeals, she won't have time to run for president again in 2 years. This is how the globalists win. They sabotage the will of the people using a villainously corrupt legal system. Just look at what they're doing here in America to President Trump. It's the same thing. And just like here in America, they're trying to cover it up. The media in France is running a total blackout on this story, trying to keep people from hearing about the verdict in court. That's because Marine is nearly twice as popular in the polls as her next leading rival. It's nowhere even close. And why is she so popular? Well, if she won, Marine promised to immediately begin mass deportations. She promised to exit NATO and hold a referendum on leaving the EU. She stood up against Ursula von der Leyen's EU presidency, and she had the audacity to call for peace in Ukraine. Now, do you understand why they've banned her from becoming president?
Le système a sorti la bombe nucléaire. Et si il utilise une arme aussi puissante contre nous, c'est évidemment parce que nous sommes sur le point de gagner les élections. Voilà. Et qu'ils se disent que tout ce qu'ils ont mis en œuvre n'a pas servi et que donc peut-être faut-il passer à la vitesse supérieure. Et tous ceux qui n'ont que l'état de droit à la bouche sont en général ceux qui sont les premiers à chercher à violer cet état de droit. Ils nous ont volé les législatives par des manœuvres scandaleuses. Que les choses soient très claires, on ne laissera pas les Français se faire voler l'élection présidentielle. Et donc nous allons...
These left-wing radicals hate democracy. They destroy it every chance they get. It's funny, they call Putin a dictator. And then the president of France locks up his main rival and bans her from running for office. Sounds an awful lot like what Biden tried to do to Trump, don't it? Then in Romania, the leftists voided the election results when a conservative won and then arrested and imprisoned him. In Germany, they're trying to wipe out one of the most popular conservative political parties in the nation and actually make it illegal for members of the party to run for office. In Slovakia, they tried to assassinate the anti-war Prime Minister Fico. Moldova banned the opposition party from participating in elections, and in Estonia, 25% of Russians are banned from voting in elections. Oh, you're still not convinced. Okay, well, how about in Hungary? The European Union has threatened sanctions just to get rid of the nationalist Prime Minister Viktor Orban, who the people voted for. In Brazil, they tried and convicted the conservative president Jair Bolsonaro, banning him from running for office again. And best of all, the hero of the people, President Volodymyr Zelensky, is so power hungry, he flat out canceled his nation's elections. Dictators never do things like that, do they? These are the peace-loving leftists who foam at the mouth about defending democracy while they systematically destroy it. Seriously, where are all the conservative leaders who are banning people or entire parties from running in elections? Don't kid yourselves. The left doesn't worship democracy. They worship fascism. And fascists love throwing their opponents in jail and canceling elections. But that's my take. What do you think? Did Marine Le Pen deserve her sentence? Or is this proof the globalists are eroding the fabric of democracy and ignoring the will of the people? Sound off in the comments below. And remember, stay free, stay sharp, and vive la France.